everyday beyond TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people consuming on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully this shit is not too loud. I know my car is a little loud. Gotta get it, you know what I'm saying? Gotta do some repairs and stuff like that. But for the most part, I wanted to go live real quick. We're talking about some energies before the moon slides into Scorpio and all that good stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? For the most part, I'm gonna probably make this a little quick since I'm on the road. I'm in transition, you know what I'm saying? Been doing a lot of moving, a lot of, you know what I'm saying, trying to get things together. But anyway, getting back on track to what's going down. So, for the most part, when we talk in Libra and the sun being in Virgo, there's a lot of things to, like I was said, a lot of things to be worked on for the sake of balance. The moon is Libra moon. It's all about the conversation. It's all about initiating a new new to be talked about, something new on your mind, pushing it, anything you're going through, things you're working on, you know what I'm saying, is trying to find the balance of harmony, trying to get on an even accord. So this part is a little it's a little difficult because when you think about the alignment between Libra and Virgo, I mean, they're right each other. So it's difficult, but at the same time, they kind of understand each other. One is trying to learn and get things ready for the other one. So in a lot of ways, Virgo is looking at Libra like, okay, how can I fix things, right? Like I said before, to make it more balanced, or how can I get things in a way where I don't have to feel like I don't have a grip or control over, what's going on. And the thing about it is, Virgo is constantly trying to do the best it can to make sense out of everything going on. So, with the moon being in Libra, it's like thinking about it, right? A lot of things are on our mind. We're noticing all the places in which our life isn't balanced. We're noticing all the things that are like, oh shit, that's a little lopsided. And it's kind of it's a strong energy at first. It might be a little difficult to get with, but it's really an energy you should learn to appreciate, because when you really think about it, everything we're going through right now is preparing us. It's part of the harvest. It's preparing us to actually be able to have value to offer and to be in a position of power, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? The moon is low key square in Pluto, because Pluto just went back into Capricorn. So like it's low key square in Pluto. It's 29 degrees, so it's right there on that edge. It just got into Capricorn, so there's a lot to be learned from how we even go about business and even our relationships, and we're trying to work through that. The sun in Virgo to work through that, figure that out. And it can drive a lot of us to think really hard about simple things or things that were simple, but see, get too fatigued by how much thought needs to be put into certain things, because worth it. At the end of the day, yeah, it might take a lot. It might take an extra effort to make a plan out of something or to figure something out. But think about it. Once the plan is done and you figured out what you need to figure out, everything else after that part is smooth. All that's left is the execution. And we're in the waxing phase. The waxing phase, whenever the moon is going through the waxing phase, that's when with the maximum effort of energy needs to be put in, because that determines what we get out. And during the full moon, the last thing you want to do is be in a position of not being satisfied due to you not putting in the work. And the work, you got to realize everything in life is hard. Everything in life, it comes with a struggle. My parents always used to say, you got to pick a struggle. And that's so true, because no matter what, you either going to struggle now or you're going to struggle later. So you have to determine when it's going to come. Either you're going to take the initiative and get the struggle out the way early so that you can have an ease in the after, or you're going to have to deal with that later on. All the shortcuts you think you was taking, all the things you thought you was getting over on, it's going to come a time where you have to, you're going to have to bear that fruit. You're going to have to lay in that bed that you made. Or, you know what I'm saying, depending on you not having things in order, you might not even have a bed to lay in when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting to work and doing what you need to do metaphorically to pay the bills, you know what I'm saying, then that's where you're going to end up. You're going to end up in a situation where you get evicted and you ain't got no place to live, spiritually speaking. So, that's just one thing to keep in mind. Now, a lot of things that's going on with Pluto is important to note. Pluto being retrograde, me now. Let's get into that later. But one thing we have to realize, right? There's a lot of shifts going on with outer planets, and when you're talking about outer planets, these things as a combination determine kind of the generation, you know what I'm saying, the generation we in, the times we in when it comes to like an overall consensus. So with Pluto and Capricorn, but we know Pluto is low key is doing this dance where it's finna go back into Aquarius at a certain point, right? But Pluto's going backwards in order to kind of give us insight more so on things that need to transform as far as infrastructure, how we go about building things, even forms of professional status, right? Because the whole thing about Pluto and Aquarius is that the right now is individuality in the sense of in order for anything to change and it's like we have to transform ourselves to be able to be in that best form or best version of ourselves. We have to know how to show up, and this is highly important because when it comes to things like community and being connected, right? We time right now where it's tempting. Like, see what with the government, what's happening right now. There's a lot of things that's making it very convenient to say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just do it by myself." But there's no way that could actually work, and we see. You know what I'm saying? We see that we've gotten to, and if you've been on your spiritual journey, you can attest to this. We've gotten to a point where you did just about everything you can on your own. You know what I'm saying? We got to a point now where the next big step is figuring out how I can take my individuality and while respecting my own individuality, connect with other individuals who have similar ideas, thoughts, and feelings, and we can come together to build and organize things kind of form of fashion to create a system that could potentially create the distance in between or the freedom, I'll say, to create freedom. Because everything now is controlled. So the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to like when you're trying to figure out how do I gain back control or how to, you know, because Pluto itself is about power and control. So if you're trying to in this time that we're in, if you're trying to figure out how do I gain power and control over my own life or my circumstance, it comes down to your ability to tap into that individuality and to be intelligent, right? Not be too much in your feelings and allow yourself to be not only an individual, but an individual who's willing to connect, collaborate, debate, have conversation, and make intelligent movements towards things that can be built upon and worked on as a group. You know what I'm saying? Right now, there's not much you can get out of life by trying to do it alone. And that's kind of even the biggest problem, even down to when we look at things like gender wars and stuff like that, you know, even down in the household and stuff like that, family can't operate if there's only one person doing all the work. And that's on both ends. We at a time right now where, yeah, at one point, the man could probably just all focus on work and a woman could all focus on the home, right? And I'm just speaking in terms of like, I'm not, you know, this is just basic example, right? Not getting too complicated because, see, as we've developed, you should be wise enough to recognize the fact that in order for a household to work to its maximum potential or efficiency, everyone involved needs to know what their individual role or gifts are so they can contribute in a way that actually makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you might be the man, but there's things you can do around the house that can make it run a lot more smooth. Yeah, you might be the female, but there might be areas that you might have to tap into to make things move more smoothly. One thing about relationships you have to understand the exaltation of Saturn being in the seventh house in whatever system works for you is the one that you should adopt and work into what's going on. You know, being stubborn and trying to look at things from an egotistic point is always going to lead to the whole team suffering. Yeah, okay. I know this shit was lagging. So that goes for hopefully it's not choppy. Is it choppy for y'all? I can't tell. But for the most part, you know, that determines that's a big thing, even down to like your actual business partnerships, any kind of relations you're doing. It's going to create systems. It's like stubborn, wanting to let go of certain perspectives. All of that starts to come down more so to you just being in your feelings and not wanting to let go or relinquish power for the sake of what could be built on together. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if you work at a business, right? And you got one person who's too stubborn to do their part, right? Based upon whatever is in their mind as far as what they feel, then the whole team suffers. You know what I'm saying? The whole team suffers. Same thing as like for instance, an example would be in sports, right? say you playing basketball. On basketball, it's 5 people on the court, right? Let's say the point guard don't want to pass. They want to take all the shots. See, that type of energy during this time ain't gonna work. Just because it's gonna be it's like you're, as a point guard, you have a role to play, and part of your role to facilitate and get others involved and be a leader on that court. If you're not playing your role sufficiently, the whole team suffers. Y'all lose because this player wants to take all the shots when they really need to be passing the ball, right? Again, same thing. Say the point guard doing what they supposed to do. If the person down low, when they catch the ball, they not making no plays and they not trying to score, guess what? The team suffers. Everybody got a role to play. And a lot of what's happening now is people are caught in between the difference between uh maybe what their ego wants and more so what is necessary for the whole operation to run. Also, it's a lot of different factors because based upon society and just where we in general, like the space we in, a lot of us, it's like we at a time right now where, again, we've been led by individuals who don't know what the fuck they doing for so long. Even though a lot of individuals are noticing things ain't working the way that it's been working, people are still finding it difficult to find their footing and to feel comfortable enough to continue to be themselves when it doesn't even seem like it. Because it's like almost like every system that was once relied upon for society to work efficiently just doesn't get the job done. Nowadays, it's like, damn, not even my 9 to 5 job can support the rent payment and all these other things that I'm being called to pay for. And it seems like, damn, it's so hard to maybe even maintain things through systems. Like, for instance, you might be around my age and went to college because everybody in your family said that was the way to create stability later on in life. But now you 30 years old and you seeing 14-year-olds get rich and famous based upon streaming. And it's something to hate on. It's, if anything, it's something to give you ideas on where you need to tap into some of that raw energy. See, a lot of young individuals see being youth is a gift. You know what I'm saying? When you're young, and a curse to everything. So, you might make a lot of mistakes. But again, there are a lot of young individuals that got rich based upon just posting videos online, going streaming, being themselves. So it's like you're an individual right now who's still trying to get things together for yourself, especially depending on what age group, what generation you from, you got a different role in the mix. So yeah, it might not need to be you streaming and acting a fool, you know what I'm saying, doing a bunch of things, making mistakes like that. But there's other ways in which you can contribute by either taking what you know, teaching others, or finding something that you can put energy into to create some form of a platform or a way for younger individuals to have space. Or if you the one with talent and you know where you at, then it's time for you to get your shit together and make that possible. You know, because now more than ever we have tools and things that make it accessible, way more accessible than it's ever been. And keep in mind that everything is a process. What we have freedom to do now will not be the case come the next years after. The same thing with everything that became a popping thing to get rich off of. After a while, the individuals who do have the means to create blockages and things like that, they set it up to where, because everything the shadow government does is meant to take your spark and use it for theirs. They can't produce their own. So the best thing they can do is steal. And we see that after a while, like one thing you got to notice is that that's the one gift that we have as gold mines. Like, again, you might be an individual who doesn't see your own creative spark. I believe, you know, individuals from that lineage, right? From the shadow government lineage, people who are indoctrinated and do it willingly. Whenever you accept indoctrination, that's basically you adopting their mind. Whenever you accept certain things like that, you basically cut yourself out. You cut yourself from source, because instead of going straight to the source, you go to a hand-me-down version. So instead of being connected to spirit, you connect to a religion, and you use that you use that as like hand-me-down knowledge for you to make sense out of the world, you to come up with meaning and reasoning, you to get inspiration, you to feel good about yourself, all that bullshit. But when you get in it from the source, what you tap into is you flex your gold mine, you build your gold. It's like you invest in yourself. So you become what can't be purchased. You become golden. You become, like, honestly, selling your soul is all forms of indoctrination in a sense, because you're giving the thing that way. So you fuck yourself over. That's why circumstances you end up in that are a result of that, you really don't get a lot of grace. And that's why God can't even, you wonder why it seems like you got to go through a form of hell in order just to get to heaven. And that piece of heaven you get is never enough. It's insatiable. So you come up with ideas like, yeah, I just need $1 million to feel happy, or I need to do this, that, and the third to be happy on some third dimensional shit. When the individuals who know their own gold and who are connected to source, we can create happiness. It don't matter where the fuck I'm at, whether I'm in a cardboard box or I'm in a mansion. I'm gonna feel like $1 million, and I like that too. So it's like there's nothing no one can take from me. So any room I walk into, I control the shift. I control what's being said and what's being done. I have my own mind, and that's the one thing no one can take from me. And see, that's the problem with 98% of the world right now, is that they forget that, and it gets scary when you don't see the material resources being available like it was before. But that's all an illusion, something to get you more in the mindset of and what's it called, lack, instead of a mind state of abundance. When it's like, when you the creator, there's no such thing as running out of shit. I was forever. You know what I'm saying? And I have been, what you've been doing, what you always been doing. So that's one aspect. Now, we do got Neptune moving into Aries, which adds a layer to the context of the age or the time we in, where Neptune plays out. And I've been saying this about Neptune going into Aries, right? Neptune is retrograde. One thing about when Neptune goes into Aries, it's going to be a mass confusion of people, or you're going to be able to see a clear distinction between individuals who have the right things to fight for, to believe in, and those who don't, those who still are fighting for an illusion. Everyone caught up in the wrong spiritual system. Everybody's still clinging on to things that make, it's almost like when you see the differences, it's going to be a lot of people who have a warrior spirit, who fight for their dreams, right? Fight for their imaginations. Now, depending on what kind of imagination you got, that's going to determine your fight, and whether you're fighting for the right shit or the wrong shit. And a lot of people are going to be stuck in the delusion based upon them still clinging to old ways of going about life and doing whatever the society tells them to do. AKA, everybody's still lost in the voting system. Everybody's still clinging on to certain religions to heal things that they can't heal. A religion can't heal your trauma. It can guide you through certain things. And like, look, I'm an advocate for everything in life is a tool. So again, if you are on the Bible right now, hey, that might be a tool you're using. As long as you understand what it is, it's a tool to help you develop your own spiritual system and develop your own language so you can communicate with God. A lot of people just got that part confused though. So they find the Bible and they latch onto it and they use it as their word instead of using that as a guide to get them to who they are. They use God as their form of God, what they think God is, as in their form of God is just another man's idea. So it's like, it's almost like they lose themselves in the mix. But that's a different conversation. I don't want to get too deep into that. But again, it applies to what I was saying about Neptune going into Aries, where it's going to be a question that you have to ask yourself: am I fighting for the right dream, or is this an illusion? And those who find themselves in an illusion, you can tell based upon it coming off aggressive. It's almost like you'll be hyper aggressive, and that aggression isn't coming from passion. The aggression is coming from your ego being touched, your insecurities being shown through what you're unable to do. And the thing about it is, all possibilities is accessible to all of us. But when you find yourself trying to force something that you don't have the means and know how to do, a lot of times you got to check yourself, and it might be a case of you trying to do something that wasn't meant for you. A lot of individuals find themselves in a situation like that based upon society, its rules, what we think is right, what we think is wrong, and what we may not be able to recognize and see at the moment because we're too lost into our own world, or we're too focused on the validation of others. Ironically, when you're lost in your own world, a lot of that forms of seeking and almost fiending for the validation of others. Because like when you're self-conscious and you thinking of everything you do, every move you make, it's because you got some trauma around being judged, or being around individuals you couldn't read, and they might have surprised you based upon what they feel and what they, like if you grew up with parents, for instance, who didn't tell you how they felt, but would just kind of snap at you randomly. So it's almost like you learn to walk on eggshells around them. So you never really wanted to be your full self because you're too concerned about what mood they was in. And they never was clear and direct with you. So you always reading them. it turns into you being an adult who always read people because you low key always feel like you in trouble. And so you kind of you sell up, you know what I'm saying, in relationships. You try to figure out, you try to think what they could think and try to make your actions around that. See, a lot of people got that kind of virus. And see, a lot of it don't even be your parent. Like, your parents are a byproduct out of what the shadow government put them through. So certain things that was right for them to do became what they did to you by default. Especially went through life and grew up with parents who beat them and shit like that, like got whoopings and shit a lot. And there's a limit, there's a degree on which, what I'm saying, some things, it's just like, that's a whole different conversation because generational trauma, people carrying things over. It's things that, I mean, think about it like this: your mother or your dad came home from stress because of the shadow government and took all that stress and beat you with it. So it's areas we have to give our parents, but ourselves as well, because there was shit that we had to go through that, I mean, in some ways wasn't even our fault, and but like I said, that's a different conversation. But when it comes to Neptune and Aries, we have to be mindful of, are we fighting for the right things in general? You know what I'm saying? Do we have in to see, when you find yourself for the right dream, then you become passionate, you become a trailblazer, right? And that mixed with the Pluto and Aquarius energy, that's an opportunity in and of itself. The right dream with the right innovation and uniqueness, you honoring who you are, it becomes something greater. And see, what we're striving for is a community. I mean, not a community, but a world full of individuals who are more intelligent, more inclined to, because it's like the whole world want to see something different. So that's correct in the sense, you know what I'm saying? And I do want to say shout out to Dolo the Parliament, because he did the Age of Aries video, and I think he made some excellent points. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't fully agree with. I mean, I look at it like this, right? If we're gonna talk about what age we in, we gotta look at the whole context of all the outer planets and look at it from that perspective. But I agree with the points of saying we don't know who the fuck they were following when they was calculating these hypothetical points and planets and shit like that. So hey, it might very well be going forward and things like that, because good points. I was like, yo, that's a good point as far as the age of Aquarius being more so the even the ties into biblical time and shit like that. I agree with that, but at the same time, energetically, I do. A lot of the things you could say about Aries could be said about Aquarius in terms of uniqueness, being an individual. But I think this is more so for learning how to come together in a more Aquarian like sense of, we need to be intelligent and we need to find ways to accentuate everyone's uniqueness for it to work as a collaboration and work as a system, rather than looking at it more like an Aryan way, which would be more completely individualistic. And even forms of warfare nowadays, you can't just walk outside and be a martyr. You have to find intelligent ways with a group of individuals nowadays in order to be effective or do anything, to accomplish anything really. And when we talk about even the topics of the shadow government trying to do things regarding war, all warfare is being done through technology. All war is cyber attacks. It's things that we have to be aware of that involve our convenience, but can seriously also hinder our ability to just do common things. Like I was saying about the AT&T shit, where the AT&T stuff, people's just ways of communication was completely stripped away, and they're testing a lot of things like this. So it's like, I wouldn't, I never give them more credit than they need, but we do need to be aware of different tactics that they're getting, they're testing out. All those outages and shit like that, that's completely controlled. You know what I'm saying? Systems going down, flight systems being tampered with and shit like that. We have to be highly aware of that. Hey, shout out to you said Fatty. You said Greece from Switzerland. Hey, okay, shout out to y'all. Beautiful country. Yeah, beautiful country. So people get exposed. They be like, "Oh, that's a country. That's not a country. That's a city." Or, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But shout out to Switzerland and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Great area in the world. I want to visit one day. But for the most part, and like I said, and even that in and of itself, like nowadays, we need more debate need more conversation, even amongst very intelligent minds, in order to create better ideas and coming up with better ways of just going about things in general. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all for that. I'm an advocate more so for communication to be had, and I feel important nowadays. So debates and things like that, but debates like how me and Saint Uno, shout out to him, did it, where it was a debate that was building. It was something to build on. Your unique standpoint, my unique standpoint, and we're looking to build, not trying to tear each other down like how they do with the election shit, where it looks like comedy. Shout out to Saturated in Love, where we see the elections do it and it look goofy as shit. They not talking about nothing. They not building nothing, because we know everything they're doing within their system is to deceive. And like I said before, they can only copy. They cannot create originality. They can only use pups. That's why they cling to the shadows. Real individuals, strong spirits, we out in the open. We able to do what we motherfucking doing, and be who we are without need shadow to hide behind. We shine our life regardless. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have to hide from shit. And that's why we always want more, 10 times more powerful than any Mason who got to hide behind a mask, a character, a puppet. They got to use all these other shit. But again, and I agree too, when it comes down to morality, that's why none of this shit can work, because it's morally corrupt from the core. They don't give a fuck about the hearts and minds of other individuals. See, at one point, it could be argued that what they were doing was for the greater good of what needed to be done. But nowadays, we see all of that shit is wearing off. And a lot of they shit just coming off flat. Everything feels robotic. Nothing really has no real life to it. And we can tell, like, all this shit is pseudo. All this shit is fake. All this shit is faux. It's like, nah, y'all can't, nah, this ain't gonna cut it. And that's where, again, even Aquarian theme, and again, the argument can be made for Aries as well. But when you think about leadership, Aquarian leadership looks more, like I said before, it's not about one person having all the answers and being a ruler. It's about how can we create a board of directors or a group of individuals who know what to do with the space or with the power, in order to distribute it and allocate it in a way that's effective and efficient. When you think about leadership, Aries can be a strong leader, but oftentimes Aries falls victim to what it lacks of air, which is the inability to know how to always communicate and delegate, and also keep things diplomatic. Not saying Aries or any fire sign can't do that, but that's why they're in opposition with each other. So when you pair an air and a fire sign, what you get is an opportunity for that passion and that vision to have direction, and that direction is the logic that air provides. So in the totality sense, it's a powerful time for utilizing both, being passionate as an individual, having the right dream and an individual dream to believe in and something to fight for, but also having the ability to collaborate, communicate, and utilize working in order to come up with a plan of action for all of us to collectively attack something and achieve something greater than oneself. Because nowadays, everything you do nowadays, you always gonna come to a conclusion that this shit bigger than me. Ironically, even with shit like YouTube, at one point in time, you could be just a YouTuber or a content creator in the sense of, this is just me and my brand. But nowadays, it's like, no, in order for that brand to actually be efficient, you need a team. You need somebody editing your videos. You damn near need somebody holding the camera. You need somebody who know how to market. You need and it's like, the thing is, you can do it all by yourself, but how effective do we see that be in the world for real? We don't really see that being as effective as the individuals who got a whole team behind their shit. Oh shit, a bird was hella close to the car. Like, damn, birds be swooping through. That bird was a little slow though. It didn't know what it wanted to do. But real shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you and like, think about how the algorithm works nowadays. To do anything and gain any following, right? You have to be consistent, posting every day, multiple times a day. At a certain point, right? You can do as much as you can on your own, but how much easier would it be if you had dedicated individuals who had roles to play, who could also contribute to that? You know what I'm saying? And even what we do, you know what I'm saying? Because most of us in this community run our own channels. That we all do. But more and more you see us finding ways to collaborate and come together, because the truth is, and even us doing our own individual thing, we still connected in the sense of we part of the same community. What do? We all post content, so that is our form of collaboration. You know, if you don't hear the message from me, you're gonna hear a dope message from Mooney Mercury Bag. If you don't hear the message from me, you're gonna hear Dolo the Pilot Man talk about some real shit. If you don't hear the message from you're gonna hear Saint Uno say some real shit. You're gonna hear a lot of individuals. Zay Quarter, you know what I'm saying? Everybody. I don't want to miss people out. Jackie Newell, you know, the Hang Nippers. I could go on and on. Y'all know my network. And if y'all don't know, y'all gonna know more of it, because all we doing, the show that we got going on, it's about bringing individuals together. I want to see what you do as a gift, a talent, you being your star quality. I want to see that shine. I want to see you shine. I want to see you shine. Everybody eat. I look, I've been saying this from the jump. Instead of a pyramid business model, a constellation business model, where everybody got their own respective space, and we figure out how to work and align with each other by aligning with ourselves and our true self and being ourselves. We said, just like me and my fellow tarot readers, right? Exactly, a team of tarot readers. And the thing about it is, we in the very early stages of this, so there is no example. There's a reason why we don't see that, but we see small sparks of it in people like what we doing, and what you know what I'm saying, like Saturated in Love said, cut from the same cloth, real shit. Each one teach one. You see little signs, and the people most successful are the ones who figure out how to, or who continue to capitalize on that ideology, you know, and build on it. And like I said before, I think in general, when we think about ages, we need to consider all of them as a mix and figure out a way to kind of utilize all those angles to come up with the best way to go and approach this time period, all times. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what astrology is for. It's a tool to help us understand energetic flows. So to use one to determine, and see, the United States probably clings to Pluto because I think Pluto was in Aquarius when they were founded. So even in general, you know, we see a lot of things of this nation kind of crumbling and needing renovation just due to their own time cycle. Again, we don't have to follow what they follow, but these energies is out here for all of us to access and utilize and look at. And may the best individual win, may the best spirit win. Whoever can align these things, build something that works, is who's gonna be in rulership, or who's gonna. I hate to say in rulership, but that's who's gonna create the waves, and determine what's considered the right thing to do and what's considered the wrong thing to do. It's just the individuals in power. They just doing what they doing, and as a byproduct, we see it do more harm than good nowadays, because they're slow, they're outdated, and their methods are ones that don't come from a genuine place. And one thing about universal law and God is the real is always gonna thrive. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what you do, the gold is always gonna be shown. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hella heavy on the we get what we deserve, right? Because we know our morality is different. So when we do things, we don't get the same repercussions as other individuals. When we bear fruit, that should be sweet. That should be hella juicy. That should be hella nurturing. When they bear fruit, that shit GMO. That shit ain't got no flavor. That shit ain't got no sauce. It's like, damn, what the fuck is this? That's why all their food tastes like shit. But we grow our own shit. You know what I'm saying? And when as we continue to build, we hold our own. Now, when it comes to the last energy in the outer planet ring, you know what I'm saying? We got Uranus. Uranus just went retrograde as well. So with Uranus and Taurus, you know, again, that's all about individuality. That's all about again, even more energy of individuality. But this is standing on your own individual value, and creating a foundation based upon that. So when you have that in combination with Aquarius, right, there's a lot of learning to be had about what your actual individual value is, and it's necessary for you to speak up on what you believe that value to be. And you have to back and support it with what? Results, especially at this time. You know what I'm saying? Right. Don't deserve, I am served. Don't deserve, I am served. Okay, look, shout out to the hanging empress with the word. You know what I'm saying? I am served. Right. I'm served without, yeah, right. I like that spin, because that's real. You know, because the thing is, like I said before, you get what you put in. So if you put in a bunch of immoral acts, and you do a bunch of things that don't look like genuine connection and building, then guess what you're gonna get back? that's exactly it. So you know what I'm saying. You said God is boss, God is bliss. You know what I'm saying. Shout out to Platinum. You know what I'm saying. Real shit. But back to what I was saying. Uranus, and we have to connect individuals we're choosing to connect with. Now, again, it's like we're gonna have to connect to something. So it's up for you. It's something for you to determine, and that's kind of your own individual journey. But the point I was making though was that I forgot what it was. It was like saying something to the regards of through that square um, and there's a lot of things that even right now. Oh, character. I think I was talking about character in a sense, but when it comes to you know Pluto squaring Uranus, that combination of energy. Right now, honestly, right now, oh, that's what it was. I was connecting it with the current times we in, which is Virgo, and Virgo needing to put in that work. So right now, all of us are a little bit stressed out, but there's a difference between good stress and bad stress. Good stress looks like you working towards something that you believe in. Good stress looks like you doing something that makes sense to you. And not only does it make sense to you, but you see ways in which it's almost like it's working things out. It's like we're all in a space where we can see everything wrong with ourselves at the moment. And if the people on a more negative end of energy are finding things in everybody else to blame and find a problem with. So if you're around somebody that's extremely negative to everyone outside of them, then you probably have an idea that yeah, their mind is not in the right place. And if you're in the and everything wrong with everybody else, you might need to take some time to look at yourself and see what you're not satisfied with, because it's ways that we kind of get confused and that we mix things up based upon how we feel about it. Our feelings are always gonna get us in trouble, but that doesn't mean you ignore your feelings. Your feelings are a guide. It's information in your emotions. So all of us have to know what we feel, but you can't let what you feel rule you. You can't. You gotta understand. You got that shit in its place. And again, that's a principle of Aquarius, Pluto, and Aquarius, or the times we in general. All of us have to get to a place where, like, even when we talk about the outer planets, right? We got Uranus and Taurus, and we got Pluto and Aquarius at the moment, or it's in Capricorn though, but still it's in Earth and air. And then we have Neptune, which is dreams and imaginations or delusions, in Aries, or about to be in Aries. We have to get to a point where we can wield the Neptune and Aries almost like a lightning bolt, and we can use that as something to attack and build with. And we do it. It's almost like you have to like a lot of the shift going on. And I know I'm saying I'm saying like a hella amount of time, but the shift going on is separating who is an actual adult, who's spiritually mature, and who knows who they are and how to handle it. So everything you're working towards, that's kind of the underlying question. If you find yourself being extremely insecure and questioning your place in things, it's because you don't feel ready for it. You don't feel like you're mature enough to handle what it's actually going to take for you to play that role and position. Now, there's two choices at that point. You can either decide to redirect yourself, right? Which ain't no shame in that. Everybody got to be honest to themselves, with themselves, about who they are, where they at, and where they would like to be. And until you do that, you don't have no footing. You can't get to no real GPS. You can't get to no real map system. And then what I'm saying, but there ain't no shame in that. You notice where you at, and you that. How much if I was on a team, right? Let's use the basketball analogy. I'd much rather a person come out right and say, "Hey, yo, I'm not great at shooting threes, but I can get to the basket though. I can make a mean layup or a 2 pointer." All right, now you being honest with yourself. Guess what? We gonna play you in that position, and everybody wins. We win the game because you doing what you're supposed to do, but you also again, and that's not to say you can't continue to work on your craft and build up your 3 point shot to get that position and to expand your arsenal and shit like that. That's how we have to think on a spiritual level. We all have gifts and abilities, but we have to be honest about where we at with it. And until you accept where you at, you don't even know where to start to build and expand. You might still bullshit yourself. So that same individual, using the basketball analogy, They're not honest with themselves. So guess what they do every game? They pull up at the three. Now, yeah, they might still be getting their practicing and expanding their craft by shooting that three, but guess what? The whole team mad at you now. You kind of bringing the team down. We're losing hella games because you're trying to take a shot that you're not even confident in, or that you know you ain't the best in. It's like we have to be honest with ourselves to that degree where it's like, hey, I know I'm not the best at this one thing, but guess what? I'm gonna align myself with individuals, and I'm gonna be honest about where I'm at and where they at, and we can come to some kind of middle ground where I can trust you to pass you the ball, to give you the opportunity to shoot whatever shot you want. But I can only trust you if you honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? We can't trust individuals who's not honest with ourselves. And if you find yourself not having a lot of people trust you, you got to check yourself and say, well, okay, what am I doing to create kind of the disconnect, or the difference between where I'm really at, where I see myself at, and the context of what we doing. But getting back to what I was saying though, just about Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, because Neptune currently in Pisces still. So there's a lot of things that we're dreaming about, but that dream, to a certain degree, especially Neptune going retrograde, we have to rethink that dream a little bit. We have to kind of reconsider. Oh, shit. Hopefully the connection good. Ain't nothing wrong with being honest and saying, okay, let me work on some things first, and see all this. And honestly, this is why I love retrograde seasons, because this is still a retrograde time. Even though Mercury went direct, it's still hella retrogrades, as far, and especially as far as the outer planets go. So this is a regrouping time for you to kind of do that extra work that you need to do to get yourself in a position that works. You know what I'm saying? Doing what you need to do to get your mind right so that you can play the position you meant to play. And that's everybody on an individual level. That's everybody going through their own shit. It's like we all have to kind of do that one-on-one with God and figure out where we align with certain, get better at what we can do. And that's really where the full moon is going to take us. The full moon is going to take us right to Pisces, next to Saturn and Neptune retrograde. So it's going to be a satisfaction on the reality of the dream we building, or have we been disconnected from reality and kind of building on an illusion or so. And that illusion is going to be based in you just being afraid, you being scared, you not taking things as serious as you need to be. And again, the important thing is that you just notice and you recognize it. If you recognize it, you can change it. If you can change it, you can fix it. If you can fix it, well, guess what? That's the key. Everybody, again, you got to pick your struggle. Either way, either you fix it now or it becomes a problem later, or the reason why you never got to that position you wanted to. And time is so limited. Time is something we have to honor. We have to treat it precious, you know, and we have to know where we invest in that time and whether or not it's worth it. And only you can tell yourself if it's worth it. Now, when it doesn't become worth it is when you find yourself sacrificing things that cripple your happiness. It should feel good to walk in your purpose. Now, when I say feel good, I don't mean it's going to always be fun. I mean, it's not always going to be the most fun thing to do to improve, but the progress itself is fun. Seeing yourself move through purpose and do what you're supposed to do, that's going to feel fun. But the actual work is still work. It's just that you gotta pick your struggle either way. Shout out to ISIS. You know what I'm saying? Frequency. Thank you for coming through. Thank all y'all for coming through. So, that's something we have to just keep in mind right now. It's like when we think about ages, I think we should consider all outer planets in the context. You know what I'm saying? Because when we start picking one, it does sound goofy. Even saying Age of Aquarius sound like not quite, because there's other things going on than just Aquarius and Pluto. That's just what they was following. So, and again, about things moving forward, hey, I don't that's out of that ain't my pocket. You know what I'm saying? When we start talking about things and the source they was created from, look, I just use this shit as a tool. So you know what I'm saying? When it comes to all that other shit, it start getting dicey. You know what I'm saying? Dicey for me. It ain't my wheelhouse. I just know what the images look like when we working with them here, because I'm passing through this world. I didn't create this world. I'm passing through. So I do the best I can with what I can see, and everything else, I let that shit fall. Hey, I'm gonna be real with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like as an individual, I'm here to be one of a kind, be me, do my shit, build what I can, connect to who I connect with, create shit, and I'm passing through. I didn't build this shit, and I'm gonna build what I can while I'm here. But I didn't start this shit, so I don't take the responsibilities to fix it or save anybody and shit like that. Only thing I'm doing here is reminding people keys and things so they can find their own spiritual empowerment. Because that's what I've been on and shit like that. I'm on a mission to empower spirits and give opportunities and build and have fun, nigga. Like I'm trying to have fun and enjoy this shit, for what it's worth. Outside of that, I don't, you know what I'm saying? We can chalk it up to whatever. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? So, and everybody got to get to that point where they know what they here for, know what you here for, know what you started for. You know what I'm saying? I think in this age, the thing is, a lot of people we got so accustomed and comfortable watching other people, and that celebrity idea. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in this world was built on following shit. And everybody, we gotta figure out how to plant our own feet and grow our own minds so that we don't have to continue that cycle of just following things. You know what I'm saying? So, but everything is, and I say that with all due respect, like, because at the same time, things that inspire you, that's always going to be something that you can connect with. But I'm an advocate for collaborate with. Like me, if you subscribe to me, or you follow me, collaborate with me, reach out, let's build something. Take your talent, take my talent, let's build. I don't want a bunch of people just jump, hop, skip. I do. I mean, and again, I'm not saying, like, if say you a supporter and you just want to be, hey, I just want a role to play, then that's cool. But let that be what it is. You know what I'm saying? I still want you to have your own mind and everybody to lead their own lives and build what they was here to build. And if you're just here to contribute and help out, that's cool too. But along the way, best believe, rocking with me, you gonna learn a few things about what the fuck you do. So you know what I'm saying? Because when I'm dead and gone, I don't want people bringing me back. I don't want to be summoned. I want to pass through. You know what I'm saying? And again, like, everybody different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody different goals and shit like that. That's just me personally. And I'm probably getting too personal and shit like that with the moon being in Libra and shit, just talking and stuff. But again, this is a relating thing. It's a relationship thing where, hey, that's what we building. You know what I'm saying? That's what's used to build. So, that's just form of how I see things and shit like that. And, hey, because I look at it like we all individual. I know how I would want to look at certain things. And I got to a point where, again, I don't like to feel too much like a follower on some shit. I like to more so be in the room and be in conversation where we looking eye to eye and we building on something, a concept or something that we talking about. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to other shit, you said I would read that, but it's too long. Yeah, I'm having this shit like that. You said God, yeah. Well, look, God, all possibilities too. So hopefully, what you said is in alignment with that idea that it's all possibilities, and part of that is you being your best self and letting that light shine. You know what I'm saying, and connecting with that. And as soon as you know what I'm saying, as you stick to that, you get to a point where if you're doing things with the right sense, the right mind, the right morality, and you being your true self, then you know so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. You find yourself in the right rooms with the right other individuals. And sometimes you find yourself around the wrong individuals. But when you're doing you and you're trusting your own instinct, you peep game. You see what's not meant to be around you and you maneuver. You know what I'm saying? But even through that, you make mistakes, you learn, you grow, you expand. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and exactly. It's about that love. But it's also, it's a balance of things, because again, like I even said that too, that it ain't all about it's about knowing how to love. A lot of people don't know how to love, and part of love, only unconditional love, I think is real, is the one with yourself, the connection with yourself. And if you love yourself right, you love God. And again, God loves. It's all possibility. So when you got God's love, you are able to do all things through you. You know what I'm saying? But hey, but getting back on point, Moon being in Libra. Like I said, so the moon is actually about to slide into Scorpio around 10 o'clock. So a few more hours. So one thing we got to keep in mind is the shift right now. So it's going to shift from being more social to being more strategic. And, you can either do this for the right things or wrong things. So don't get too caught up. See, like I said before, that moon in Scorpio, sextile in the sun in Virgo, it's a great power of being super, investigative and getting real specific and strategic about these details, but try not to be on the end where you use it to tear others down. You might find yourself in a situation where it feels like, oh, I should use this to, like for instance, if your mind is too set on external things, validation, and trying to, you know, sneak and crawl your way into certain circumstances you ain't got no business in, you're gonna find yourself kind of having the. It's gonna feel like you're getting over. It's gonna feel like, yeah, yeah, I could say this, I could do this, and no one can see me, and I'm so intelligent. It can make you very cocky and overconfident about doing some manipulative shit. And just know that it will be exposed come the right time. So, right now, integrity is huge. You got to be real authentic, because even though it might seem like you can do this and do that, not everything that glitters is that gold. So if you know you in the wrong space, chances are what you seeing as an opportunity might not actually be the one you want. So you just got to be mindful about that kind of shit. Same goes for so on a positive end though, this could make you extremely efficient at self improvement, building yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Building yourself up, finding different ways, like all the things that you might have been looking at that need to be improved upon. This is you having the moon in Scorpio, right? This is you having the opportunity to transform how you feel for the sake of what needs to be done, the responsible thing to do. This is where this is where Scorpio can look at itself and have that piercing truth. Look for the truth in who you are, and as you see that, right? Because the thing about the moon in Scorpio, it falls there, but it kind of just takes it into a dream state where it could either be a dream or it could be a nightmare. The thing about the moon in Scorpio, it's easy to get excited, but it's also super easy to be super depressed. It's all that passion built up and the ability to fixate on an emotion. So if you fixate on the right things emotionally, and you put yourself in a mental space where you're looking to improve yourself and you're willing to be honest with yourself, then all of that sun energy can look like you gathering the details, the information, and you being willing to do the work to make that become true. But if you on the other end of that and you trying to look at others instead and seeing what they got, and maybe you holding grudges against what they got and what you don't got, then this will put you in a position you start to do sneaky things behind closed doors. And based upon your aura, you'll find yourself again acting on stinging yourself, basically putting yourself in a position where you was taking something from somebody else. But once you get exposed for that, especially if you're around a strong spirit, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna see you for who you are. And you're gonna be like, well, that ain't who I am, but here you are sneaking around the corner. If I catch you red-handed, yeah, it might not be who you are at a core, but if I caught you doing something that's not who you truly are, then who's in the wrong still? That's still on you. You know what I'm saying? So, right. Shout out to you. Said, will you pass the test? Yeah, we all got a test when the moon in Scorpio comes, because everybody get access to that behind the scenes, behind closed doors energy. And it's about what you do in those times when you do when no one's looking. That really matters. But everybody's a lot of time fixated on what can be seen. So they play a good face card. You know what I'm saying? They play a good face card. Oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that. But everything they do behind closed doors don't really be that. And they always the first to get exposed. And when they do get exposed, it'd be rough. It'd be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Damn, homie. Back in high school, you was the man, homie. Happy. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Where it's like, damn, we thought you had it all together. You made it look so good. You made it sound so convincing. But it really was bullshit. You was trying to sell us shit. And once people are onto you, it's very hard to get out of that being labeled as that character. Again, you might be looking like, I ain't really this, I ain't really this. We catch you red-handed doing something you wasn't supposed to. Again, and that's a metaphor for you carrying a certain energy that just make you guilty on some shit. And a lot of Scorpios suffer from that, where it's like, damn, God, damn, y'all hear that? Fucking rocker hit the window. Good thing it ain't cracked my shit. But yeah, y'all hear that? You know what I'm saying? That like when it comes to Scorpio, is that aura thing where it's like it's just about this person. I just picked up something, and the aura don't even always be right, but y'all know it be wherever you doing behind closed doors. A lot of Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio ascendant, so I deal with this a lot where I be having to be overly communicative about things that I'm into, just to nip things at the butt, because I know I carry energy where, but in my own time, I put a lot of passion into what I create. I put a lot of energy into what I'm doing. So sometimes I be having to be outright about, certain things, and Scorpio risings know about that shit. Where it's like sometimes people will think you doing something, you ain't even doing nothing. Right path.
But yeah, you be having to, be extra vocal about what you working on shit, and just so everything can stay clean and stuff. Because you don't, people. That's the thing with auras. People take whatever's on their mind and whatever they pick up from you, and they come up with their own shit. So sometimes it ain't even none of my business. When somebody think something's going on, sometimes it really don't have nothing to do with you. You know. But getting back to the moon being in, and so it's currently in Libra. So what we was experiencing the last couple of days, again, our opposition with Chiron. So making mistakes sometimes when it comes to how we communicate by being too selfish, too into self, and, and being and that's another thing too. There's this big push of everybody being forced to be put in situations where it's more convenient to do things alone or by yourself. Even if you are communicating with others, you still by yourself. So working from home, things like that. So we do need to be aware of certain things like that and not get caught up in whatever that game is. It's still cool to go outside. It's still cool to link up with people in real life. We gotta keep those lines of communication open, because being too much separate and too into, you lose some of that more genuine connection energy. So, everything they do is inverted in a weird way. So yes, it is true. Everything that they try to make popular and stuff, it's almost like they're gonna try to remix it and turn it into something. Um, they're gonna turn it into something that is just like it's awkward to do. Like we see with AI, it's almost like they got AI services. You could text somebody to be your friend. It's a fucking AI friend that's really like Siri 2.0 or something like that. That could just talk to you through normal, supposed to be human interactions. They got the new robot that's about to be put in people's house and shit like that. Like it's a lot of stuff that, again, we already know they go to the extremes and they make everything perverted. They make everything weird. They make everything something that people want to overdose on and stuff like that, to where it becomes a problem. So, that's just unfortunately what they like to do. But, as long as you have the right agency, you have the right integrity and discernment, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But we shouldn't shy away or feel afraid of these energies, because these are the very same things that's going to be the determinant on whether or not you can make it through where you can get where you're trying to go. Unless you can come up with an innovative way to do something else. Until then, you know what I'm saying? But even then, chances are you're going to need some of the new technology in order to get that done. You know what I'm saying? You said what's done in the dark will always come to light. The interesting thing about that is, and to a degree, I don't want to get into that conversation, but that quote in general, I'll be looking at like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of things. A lot of people took shit to the grave. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to yeah, the moon being in Libra right now, about to go into Scorpio. So it's going from an opposition node with Chiron in the North Node, so feeling a little uncomfortable about even our spiritual path to a degree. Again, this Libra energy, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know about y'all, but it felt like everything I was thinking hella hard about every little thing. Every little thing I'm trying to do, I'm thinking hella hard, to the point where I'm giving myself headaches and shit like that. I'm throwing myself off. But if you was doing it for the right things, it was a headache that might have been worth it. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself through a mental challenge, and you might have came out on top, to where now when it's time to rest and recuperate, you feel like you did something productive. Even if you kind of, there's a lot of backtrack energy too, where you might have did something and it led to you having to redo it, or be hit with a situation where you're looking at that shit like, damn, did I do all that for nothing? And the truth is, it might feel like that, but sometimes you got to look at the bright. You got to pick and choose what to accentuate out the experience. Sometimes you go through a challenge like that, and you just got to chalk it up to game and say, you know what? Well, if I did it once, I could do it again, and kind of like bounce back energy. Because there's a lot of things with this energy that felt like a step forward, but might have been like two steps back, or you had to think real hard to get through something. And even when you got through it, it was like, damn, that took a lot of more so mental energy than it did physical energy. But mental energy in the right area can save you a lot of physical energy. So that's the payoff. You know what I'm saying? You just got to kind of pick and choose your battles. It be like that sometimes. But when it comes to the moon shifting into Scorpio, that's going to be an in conjunction, but on the Mars end of things. So it's going to be a lot of things you have to feel and maybe even transform, or you might find yourself developing emotional attachments, or noticing where you have an emotional attachment or a grudge based upon a mistake that you made, or somebody pointing out a mistake that they seen you make. Yeah, it's almost like you your own mistakes or people pointing out mistakes you made, and you might have to work through that criticism. And it's kind of like a situation where the results can show the difference. You know what I'm saying? So if you got results to show, this is the time that, again, a lot of that work that you did do to change yourself and to transform is going to actually pay off, because it's going to be like, hey, well, you can look at my actions and see I'm different. You can see what I'm producing right now. You could tell it's different. So it's not going to be nothing anybody could say. So that's going to be them transforming their mind, and you can you transform your feeling. So now that Moon and Scorpio could feel like justified and feel like it's more so on the positive end of things, where it's like, no, I'm transforming, I'm passionate, and I'm in the game, versus feeling like you're exposed. So you might have been saying that you changing, but when we look at the results, we don't see no real change. We don't see you actually no different position. And again, Virgo is not gonna have enough to work with to actually prove that what was done in the dark was actually done in the right vein. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like kind of confusing. They're gonna be like, wait a minute, nah, I feel something, I sense something, and when I look at the results, it says the same thing, or some form of that. But again, on another end, like I said before, it can make people hypercritical of you, or you hypercritical of others, or hypercritical of yourself. And with that hypercriticism, again, the combination of Scorpio and Virgo, if used correctly, is very powerful in the sense of you can really get your shit straight. You can really say, okay, I need to, add a lot more discipline to what needs to change and transform. And this could be the added energy you needed to put depth to things, right? Self-reflection, right? Looking at yourself and seeing all the real self, all the blemishes and shit like that, no filter and stuff. So you looking at yourself for who you really are. It's like, oh, I'm really this. So you either satisfied with that or you not. And if you not, guess what? I always say this about astrology. You get the opportunity to change, or to do the energy that's required. So this is fixed water, but with fixed water, the thing about Scorpio in particular, it's about change. It's almost like when you look at elements and then modalities, certain elements, it's inevitable for them to be what they are. Water is always going to change. So water by default as an element is always low key mutable in a sense, or if it's forceful enough, cardinal. Water can't really be fixed. It can be an ice cube, but ice melts eventually. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things where you just have to determine how to modify the energy. In this case, we know Scorpio deals with transformation. So if you don't like what you see, transform it. But if you do like what you see, guess what? This is you being able to fixate on that passion. If you know that passion is leading you to the right place, well, guess what? Perfect time to fixate on that, and then use the mutable nature of the sun to act on things and adjust and fix what needs to be fixed, because nothing is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And perfection, a lot of times, I heard, I think it was Gary Vee say this shit, and I thought it was pretty insightful. The fact that a lot of times perfection, or being a perfectionist, is an excuse based in fear, to not do something. A lot of people use being a perfectionist as something to protect them from actually doing what they're supposed to do. Because hey, if I could say I'm a perfectionist, it's like pretty procrastination. Being a perfectionist is like a beautiful procrastination. I took procrastination and I made it pretty and shit. Like, when it's the same thing, it's the same energy. You still waiting. You still unsure. You still uncertain. You still insecure. You still, what I'm saying, bullshitting. Again, there's a difference between you working towards and being improved upon and improving something, and and perfecting it in that way. But as a lot of people who be like, oh, I'm a perfectionist, and that's just their never finish anything and never present it and never be, they don't get the full criticism because it's always in the works and stuff like that. And sometimes that be legitimate, but a lot of people use that as an excuse. Don't let that be rooted in fear. But like I was saying, when the moon shifts into Scorpio, that's an opportunity there. Because if you are on the right track and you know what you believe in and you're working on the right things, then boom, guess what? Fixated emotion that can be worked on and improved upon. Because now it's like something to be protected, something to be taken serious. You know what I'm saying? And then the next moon, Sagittarius, is going to be that middle point where we have to determine, has what we've been doing this waxing period been paying off? Does it look beneficial, or do we need to change things? Do we need to switch things up? And that'll be a different conversation. Now, the moon in Libra was trining Jupiter and Mars. No, Mars is in Cancer now, so it was trining Jupiter and it was squaring Mars. So, in so many ways, in so many ways, we had a gift to be able to use our experiences to bring balance. So things that we learn in our experiences, wisdom that we got from communicating with others and our relationships, those things was able to be used as an opportunity to provide more balance and emotional stability, feeling more comfortable about our experiences based upon who we connected to, who we relating to, how we relate to ourselves, and things like that. And now Mars was squaring it. So we had to learn a little bit though about where our boundaries may need to be. And Mars brought a little bit of sensitivity. Mars and Cancer brought a little bit of sensitivity to our passions in general. So if you're comfortable with your passions, this is a good place to be, right? Mars is gonna be in Cancer for a while. I'm gonna make a separate video or live on Mars and Cancer, and then the other planet that shifted. But Mars and Cancer in particular, that's something that we just got to be aware of. Mars, Mars falls there, but again, like I said before, Mars is taking a nap. So it could have a dream and a restful nap, or it could have a nap full of tossing and turning, a restless nap, you know what I'm saying, where it's kind of frustrated and they got to get something off his chest, but it don't do it the right way. It wake up on the bad side of the bed, and so it ruin everybody else's day, but that ain't nobody else's fault or problem. But one thing about Mars and Cancer is, it's all about being more connected and a little bit more sensitive about your passions and considerate about what it is you're doing, caring about your passions. And sometimes we might find ourselves frustrated if we feel like people don't care about what we're passionate, but that shouldn't, don't let that deter you. Don't let that distract you. Because that's one thing about Virgo. Virgo is a mercurial energy. So it's powerful when focused. But if it's too scattered or too distracted, it becomes. And one of the ways that Virgo gets distracted is by overthinking something, overthinking how something's going to work. So, but the benefit is, even with it sextile and Cancer, things can be worked on and improved. But you just got to keep your mind clear and focused enough to stay on track with what actually is. You know what I'm saying? The second you get too concerned about things that really don't matter is the second you find yourself in a position that, again, it don't feel good. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna feel good and it's not gonna feel right, and it's gonna lead you on a dummy mission. Now, but yeah, we're gonna talk about Mars and Cancer because that makes certain alignments too that need to be acknowledged. But when the moon goes into Scorpio, that's passions. So where everything you needed to learn, hopefully you learn the right lessons of how to relate to your passions. It's really like learning how to relate to your passions based upon emotions and logic. So some things we have to do as far as may not feel the best, but we know it's necessary in order to provide the proper sense of balance. You know what I'm saying? And then that goes, for pretty much everything we trying to do. Get over, nigga. Damn. People be tripping on the road, man. But that determines that we have to learn a little bit from what's necessary for balance versus what and our passions have to chill out a little bit, or at least be cared for. And it's almost like, for instance, right? Say you're passionate about something or you care about something. It's almost like, if you care about it, you have to do the work required in order to get the result you want. If you really care about it, even though you don't feel like doing that thing, you should still be willing to do it. So it's energy like that. So we have to be mindful of certain things on that degree. It's like, if you really care about it, you have to do the work in order to create balance for you. That's kind of that whole recipe. You know what I'm saying? That we got to be mindful of. Now, when it comes to I don't know if I can take a right turn. I'm chilling. But when it comes to energy like when it comes to energy like so we talking about, yeah, when the moon goes into Scorpio though, it's going to trine at Mars. So again, if you've been doing your Mars energy in a proper context, taking care of Mars by doing the things necessary to make it real. And that's another thing. Mars and Cancer is trining Saturn. So it's like forms of caring for your passions is going to look like making more sense out of them. And it's a sextile with Virgo, which is nurturing in the sense of practicality. Virgo nurtures by giving you work to do, and you might not understand it, but it's kind of like a metaphor for. I just heard Marlon Wayans make that comparison, where talking about like Yoda is Yoda gonna make you a bunch of shit that you don't understand, but at the end of it all, you end up a Jedi. You know how to use the skills and shit like that. It's like, damn, Mr. Miyagi ass energy. That's the vibe right now. It's like, Mr. You doing a bunch of wax on, It could look down to you just going to work and shit like that, or figuring out how to take your bills and responsibilities more seriously. But that has a purpose on a higher level of what you actually trying to do when it comes to your passions and making your reality, making reality look like your dream, not so much looking trying to escape reality to have a false delusion of what the dream is. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be really real with ourselves and willing to kind of go through that type of shit right now. You know what I'm saying? But because that's the highest form of care. Highest form of care is being responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the moon is exalted. Is this hold on real quick. In Taurus. Because the highest form of care is being practical and looking to secure something. Highest form of care is like making sense out of it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at that like in regards to your passions and even that energy. So even though people online like pop culture astrologers and shit be killing me because everybody online like, oh my god, like this energy gonna be rough because Mars falls there, but it's like Mars is getting hella help right now. So it's like sometimes you gotta really understand this astrology shit is deeper than just this square this and this make a good alignment, this make a bad alignment. But I gotta get some gas and shit. But you know, it's a astrology is so much. It's like it's a tool. So I say it's so much more than that. But it's like you got to think deeper than you probably. You know what I'm saying? It's not just oh, this is gonna be a good transit. Everything's relative. You know what I'm saying? Because the energy might work for you, but it might not work for everybody else. Everything is relative. Everything is contingent upon you as a spirit, and that's part of the individuality that we gotta be able to piece together. That we gotta be aware of. It's like everything is contingent upon you as an individual and what the fuck you going through and what you trying to do. I want the sun in my eyes. And what the fuck you trying to do. So you got to keep that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of this energy is just hot. Hold on. Yeah. A lot of this energy is dependent on that. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to be aware on that level. But Mars is getting hella help. And all of the help it's getting is from Uranus. So again, individuality, understanding what works for you as an individual is the right now. You know what I'm saying? Know what works for you as an individual. Is getting help from Virgo at the moment. So Mercury gonna be there soon if it's not there already, being able to think about what's more responsible in order to take care of this passion. So, yeah, my passion, I'm gonna need to get up and go to work if I want this passion to flourish. If I care for this passion, I'm gonna commit to some kind of schedule. I'm gonna think through to plan out the to do the marketing, to do all the things that make this sense. Same thing with the sun. I'm gonna have all the energy. I'm gonna put that energy towards things that's gonna benefit that goal. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of that's how we got to look at this shit. Think about it, even the different transitions we're going to go through. Some are going to more and some are going to hurt a little bit or make it a little confusing or tough. But right now, Mars is getting hella help from these earth energies, from Taurus, and then even from the opposition. A lot of things about our passions by default are going to transform based upon we understand and get to learn how to care for our passions and things like that. And then it's squaring our mistakes. You know, it's so it's a lot of things we have to learn as far as our passions that led us down the wrong path. It needs to be context that we add to what makes sense to do at the moment and what makes sense to maybe not do. You know what I'm saying? Same thing when it comes to energy like Mars and Mars and what? You know what I'm saying? Mars fuck. Fuck. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Mars squared the North Node. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. You know what I'm saying? You said follow the Holy Spirit. Whoa, 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 whoa. You. No Holy Spirit, you know. Unless you're talking about the whole as all possibilities, but we gotta be careful. We gotta be real careful. Shout out to Platinum. And shout out to Cool J. He says shadow work. You know what I'm saying? Shadow work always key. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pump the brakes. What's the Holy Spirit to you? Christ power. I don't know about Christ power. We have to relax. We have to relax. You know what I'm saying? I remember when you subscribed. And so, you know what I'm saying? I understand. Use certain words. We gotta be aware. You know what I'm saying? Aware of what we saying. Christ power. I don't know about that one. But I kind of, oh, I ain't even gonna say I understand your energy. Saying what you saying. But, you know, pump the brakes on that one. You know what I'm saying? Christ, I'm an advocate for your own power. You know what I'm saying? Not no Christian power, not no Christ power. You need your power. So let it be platinum power for you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't real shit. Everybody got their own power. We have to create our own connection with God. And so that, you know, When we start using names that other people created, we jump into the minds of other people, and that goes for everybody, even the people you follow and stuff like that, even me, you know what I'm saying? And it's all you know, all metaphor, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, yeah, yeah, something like that, something like that. But for the most part, when we talk I know you're talking in metaphor, but when we talk about the moon, yeah, so the moon's going into Scorpio, it is going energy, so that's going to feel a little more comfortable with what is necessary for your passions. You know what I'm saying? A little what's necessary for your passions in order to flow. And it's going to be a grand water trine, so that's going to be a lot of emotional energy. So emotions is in check, because if you're emotional all over the place, this could be a very difficult time for you to know what's right and know what's wrong. It's like you're gonna know what's right and wrong, but certain things might seem more shiny than other things. So you might try to make a shortcut in a way, kind of hurts you in the long run, based upon you thinking you're gonna get by on something. So it's like, don't put yourself in a situation where, based upon your own self-doubt and the shadow work you didn't do, you end up destroying yourself. You destroy what you built, based on too much in your feelings. That's how a lot of kingdoms end up being destroyed. You know what I'm saying? If you think of the concept of a castle of sand being destroyed by a wave on the beach. You know what I'm saying? You not controlling your emotions, you not riding your own wave, not paying attention to the tides. You could destroy everything you tried to build. One thing about certain things, like even when we talk about like certain things like trust and stuff like that, how it can be, destroyed just like that. Certain things can be destroyed overnight. Things that took you years and eons to build can be destroyed in one moment. And so that's not to make you afraid, but it's to make you aware. And a lot of those things come from irrational decisions, trying to move too fast. I'm saying, trying to do things based upon, again, too many feelings, too many emotions, and see that emotions and feelings and thoughts get on your ass and become a hindrance. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times we know thoughts and feelings is not ours, but the ones that we choose into, those become what we are identifying as. And if those things ain't in alignment with, it's like if those things end up being things that kind of lead you to the wrong area, it's what, I'm saying, this is how you get bad results out of certain things. This is how you end up in situations that, what I'm saying, again, like I said, tower moments and stuff like that. And that's where Mars being in a fallen space, you could start to develop frustration based upon what you feel. And that frustration will lead you to burn bridges. It leads you confrontational in areas that ain't really necessary for confrontation. You just sensitive, or you just insecure. One thing about Cancer energy, everything comes in your insecurities. So there might be a lot of insecurities on your connection to your willpower, or your ability to see your passions and feel like it's possible. Based upon you not feeling like your dreams is possible, you try to shoot people's dreams down, or you talk shit about other people's dreams when they not looking and shit like that. So be careful of where Mars might place you in the context of what you're building and what you're doing. You might not realize where you're actually getting yourself into trouble, based upon you just, again, doing things based upon how you feel and too connected to that. And trust me, I'm a water sign. I got a water sun and ascendant. So I know what it's like to be in a world and you think that's the real thing. In order to get out of that, though, anchor, which you're focused on, you got to kind of keep that in context. So keep things in reality by kind of remembering what you're here to do, what you're working on. And when you start to find yourself pointing towards other things, frustrated with things you can't control, remind yourself of what you can control. And that'll give you a key to see, oh shit, okay, well, if I can control this, then and because when you really think about it, the only thing you could control is yourself. You're the things, you can't control necessarily what happens, but you can control your reaction, which, how they say, like a metaphor for the best offense is a good defense. Where if you know yourself and you know what you catching and dealing with, you and you maneuver it, you know how to act. You know what I'm saying? If you know where your triggers are, you won't have to act out of a reaction. You can choose to act. So it's like the best defense, the best offense is a good defense spiritually. If y'all, the metaphor I'm giving. So we have to be mindful of that, especially with the moon in Scorpio. So moon in Scorpio is another fallen energy. So it can get you caught up. Certain things you didn't realize it was a grudge. Before you know it, you done held on too tightly to that emotion until it started to whisper into Mars' ear, and Mars started to think really, really was that. And so Mars got confused and thought that was real and thought it was justified to blow up. And then boom, now you on the side of the road crying because you when somebody else, you grab the wheel and start, you let your feelings in the passenger seat grab the wheel and steer y'all off. You know what I'm saying? Like a man and woman in the car arguing, and all of a sudden your girl grab the wheel. Yo, it's not funny, but I mean, I did heard some stories. It ain't never happened to me, but you know what I'm saying. I heard some stories where my homies was on the road and they was arguing something happened. Oh no! Yeah, she tried to say, man, women are crazy, bro. Dudes is crazy too, but women are just they throw everything away for the feeling. And again, when I say women, I ain't even talking about females. I'm talking about you and your feelings. Your feelings will throw everything just off the rip, just based upon that space you in. You don't give a fuck when you in the mood. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about this job. Da, da, da. Then you get fired. Then it's like 2 weeks later when your mind come back and we in a different transit. You oh shit, I was too much of my feelings. Now I'm really broken. Now I'm really, so we gotta put that in check right now, because it's a lot of it's about to be a lot of water in the sky at a time. We have to be very serious, and we have to be very we have to be a lot more practical. We have to make us out what's going on and not just go along with how we feel. It's not that time yet. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you say, yeah, all right, shout out to England. It ain't never happened to me because I don't be with well, yeah, right. Hey, all I know is as of right now, I'm still alive. You know what I'm saying? I'm still alive. I still have both hands on the wheel. Saw me driving. I haven't been in no. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, right? You said, "All right, Pisces, man. Y'all picking on me because the sun is in Virgo and y'all think it's comfortable." No, but real talk, with this Virgo energy, it's a time we have to be aware of trees. You know what I'm saying? We got to be on point. And again, when certain things come in, seem like an inconvenience, the Virgo attitude to handle it is to just, hey, let's get it done. We can complain the whole way we do it, but we just got to make sure we do it. So no matter what you're going through, it's like, yeah, it might feel like a lot, it might feel overwhelming. Just get it done, though. Just get it done. It's not gonna feel fun all the time, but the work pays off. Choose your struggle either now or later. You know what I'm saying? And that's your own discernment based upon how you like to go through life. Like me personally, well, I've been saying me personally a lot. I don't want to get too personal. I guess because the moon. Well, no, not every that reason, but it gets like that. You know what I'm saying? It gets like that where you can look at what needs to be done, and that can become overwhelming in your mind. And Virgo energy will make you think all up and down about it, but it's not till you go through it, experience, realize like, oh shit, it's not really that bad. And that's even foreshadowing a little bit of what we're gonna hit when we hit that middle point uh uh when moon gets into Sag, because it's going to square with the new moon energy and the sun. It's always that middle point where you're going to have a decision to make when it comes to and that decision is based upon your feeling, based upon, okay, what I'm working on is looking like me working myself into a cage versus what I'm working on is looking like building my way out of into freedom. I'm digging myself out of a hole versus feel like I'm digging myself in a hole. And based upon what doing, you gotta go ahead and determine that. You know what I'm saying? So don't get too caught up in that, and you'll be all right. You'll find yourself in a good position. But yeah. Other than that, just what else? Moon, yeah, Moon's gonna be trying to Saturn, so um, being comfortable with reality you're building on. Moon, trying and Neptune, you know what I'm saying, getting yourself in a space where you're more connected to, you're willing to kind of see your dreams for what it is. It's going to be a little difficult, but it's a trying, you know what I'm saying? So connect to what, I don't want to say connect to what feels right, but be aware of what sit with yourself for a little bit and be in that vibration. Moon in, let me see, Moon and yeah, Moon going into Scorpio also is gonna be, I'm gonna make a separate video for. I'm live again. Well, I don't know. Uh, I for sure I'm gonna go live again, but I don't know if I wanna. Well, let me just go through it. Hold on, Pisces, Taurus, yeah, moon opposite Uranus. So one thing got to be aware of when the moon slides into Taurus. I mean, when the moon slides into Scorpio is feeling opposite to our individuality. We might not feel like our values are being respected. So don't let that frustrate you too much. You know, you just have to bring balance to some things that you might have to transform in order to feel more like an individual. Be willing to, you know, do what you need to do to build the foundation for your individual values to be respected. Don't just look at it like something to complain about and again create more necessary. That moon trine and grand water trine gonna make everybody blow everything up. So be aware of that. You included, you know what I'm saying? Be aware of explosive things because that's the type of energy that come with Moon and Scorpio, especially when certain things, you know what I'm saying, like Mars and stuff in water signs. So all that blowing up, it might not be justified. So check yourself. Um, yeah, and then Moon also sextile in Pluto slightly, you know, that's going to be kind of needs to transform how you feel based upon power and control, but also you know, you might start feeling a sense of power and control issues, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. So don't be too much on that end, just check yourself. Everything comes down to just checking. uh so that's Taurus, Gemini, yeah, Moon in conjunct Jupiter, misunderstand, feel about experiences. Again, you might not have the full picture, so don't let your feelings get you in trouble. um yeah, we already talked about the Tron and Cancer, Leo, Virgo, sextile with the Virgo energy, Sun there, and Mercury about to be in there. It's going to be learning to communicate, but also the opportunity to get to a point where, again, you working with yourself, you figuring out what to work on. I was talking about that earlier. Um, Moon, yeah, that's Virgo. Then we got Libra right next to it. Then we got Scorpio itself. Then we got Sag, nothing in Sag, nothing in, yeah, we talked about Capricorn, Aquarius. What we got? Nothing Aquarius, and then Pisces. Yep. Okay, that's everything. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and run into this gas real quick. Much love. Thank you everybody who jumped through. You know what I'm saying? Got to get back on the road. Got things to do this weekend, but much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.